Well, good evening. Thank you for coming. It's October the 10th. The St. Lucie County School Board here at Allapattah Flats live. Doesn't get more exciting than this. Let's go ahead and call this meeting to order and stand and say the pledge. And this will be started by Miss Chris Harrison. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's say the Kids at Hope pledge. As an adult and treasure hunter, I am committed to search for all the talents, skills, and intelligence that exist in all children and youth. I believe all children are capable of success, no exceptions. Okay, board members, we can go ahead and stay standing real quick and go down to the front and turn it over to Mr. Superintendent for a special order of business.
Okay, we're going to have a little bit longer special order this month because last month we kind of missed it because of the storm and the recovery effort. So Carrie Patrick's going to come up to the front and start us off with Big Brothers Big Sister Bowl for Kids' Sake winners.
Board members, Superintendent Gent, audience, we are so pleased because Big Brothers Big Sisters is committed to changing the lives of children in our community and to matching them with caring adults to support them and guide them on their pathways to success. And to support this community organization's efforts, we look forward to an annual event that is striking, in which we have an opportunity to pin down our colleagues for a little fun in the alley. Yes? I'm talking about the Big Brothers Big Sisters Bowl for Kids' Sake. This is an evening to share the highlights of our school's participation rate and top 5 finishers. And here with us this evening, we have a very special guest, the matriarch of Big Brothers Big Sisters, Miss Judy Miller, along with Rachel Headings, who is the Chief Operations Officer, and Miss Debbie Hawley, who is the Chief Program Officer for Big Brothers Big Sisters.
I love your puns.
Yes, that was very creative writing. I love that. Thank you so much, and as Carrie said, we're very happy to be here and so honored for all of your support. I'm going to turn this way for just a minute if I can. So honored for all of your support for Big Brothers Big Sisters. This year, overall, the district total was over $13,000 raised in this one day. So we couldn't do this without you. We thank you so much. We wanted to do a public thank you and special recognition of our top 5 schools. So if I call your school, if you and any representatives that are here would mind coming up, we'd love to take a group picture. We have Palm Point Educational Research School was our 5th overall fundraiser. We have Rivers Edge Elementary as our 4th overall fundraiser. Morningside Elementary as our 3rd overall fundraiser. FK Sweet Elementary as our 2nd overall fundraiser. And getting the trophy back this year, Floresta Elementary as our 1st place overall fundraiser. Thank you all so much. You want to move this too?
I think the one other thing I just want to say is for Floresta Elementary, this year brought us to over $30,000 that school alone has raised for Big Brothers Big Sisters. So that is an absolutely incredible thing.
Next on the agenda, we are so pleased to honor when our students have a tremendous accomplishment. And from Lincoln Park Academy, Sebastian Suarez is a senior. He has earned the Congressional Medal of Honor. This is established into law in 1979. The Congressional Award is created to honor, to encourage, and to inspire America's youth. To earn the gold medal, Suarez completed over 400 hours of volunteer public service, 200 hours of personal development, and 200 hours of physical fitness. Additionally, he planned a trip to and explored New York City over a 5-day period in order to better understand the cultures that shaped this metropolitan area. Suarez did not win this award, he earned it. He will be recognized at a national gold medal ceremony along with other distinguished award recipients later this summer. Mr. Santabria, the proud principal, along with other administrators and parents of Sebastian Suarez, please join us in the front with the board members for a photo opportunity. Well, recognitions do not stop at the student level. We have a teacher whom we are very, very proud of, Miss Jacqueline Baptiste Harris of Village Green Environmental School. She has earned the Excellence in Teaching of Economics Award. This is presented by the Council for Economic Education to those who exemplify the importance of economic and financial education critical to students' futures. Miss Jacqueline Baptiste Harris is a first grade teacher at Village Green Environmental Studies School and is making a difference that exemplifies the importance of economic and financial education. She is the recipient of the John Morton Excellence in Teaching of Economics at the elementary school level. As a recipient of this prestigious award, Ms. Baptiste Harris has just attended the 56th Annual Financial Literacy and Economic Education Conference and Awards event, which was held in New York, where she had the opportunity to present best practices from her classroom to colleagues and to participate in a teacher's roundtable session. She is a wonderful ambassador for St. Lucie Public Schools. Ms. Baptiste Harris, along with the administrators, and she has colleagues here to support her as well. Please join our board members and the superintendent. From our brick and mortar school to our virtual and digital Mosaic Academy, we have teachers exhibiting excellence. Ms. Jean Zimba has earned the Innovative Leader in Distance Learning Education for K-12. Jean Zimba is the principal of St. Lucie Public Schools Mosaic Digital Academy, and she will attend this year's Florida Distance Learning Association annual conference on September 15th as an honoree for this Innovative Leader in Distance Learning Award. This award is established to recognize excellence in innovation in using technology to enhance teaching and learning. We are so excited for her and the effort that she has made to bring forth this vision behind Mosaic since its inception 5 years ago. She is very deserving of this award. Congratulations, Miss Jean Zimba. And I know that Ms. Zimba has family in the audience. Thank you for joining her here this evening. If you would like to come forward for the picture, or if you would like to be shy, okay. Oh, okay. And being a professional educator means that we continue to hone our professional skills. Such is the case with Mr. Rafael Sanchez, who has earned his doctorate degree from Capella University. But not only that, he has taken it a step further. Among his colleagues, he has been named as the business leader, earning himself the Business Leaders Award. Dr. Rafael Sanchez, who is the Director of Human Resources for St. Lucie Public Schools, looks forward to ringing the closing bell for NASDAQ in New York City on October the 25th. This opportunity that many on Wall Street clamor for is the result of his distinguished recognition and the receipt of the Capella University Business Leaders Award. Recipients of this leadership honor are standouts among their peers as demonstrated by their ambition, academic excellence, and comprehensive understanding of the current business environment. He has used his skills to bring it back to our district and improve what we are doing here for students and for our professionals. Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. Excuse me, Dr. Sanchez. In St. Lucie County, the arts are definitely alive. And for this next series of awards, I invite Dr. Kevin Perry, who is instrumental in keeping the arts in education.
Mr. Chair, School Board members, Superintendent Gent, I am pleased to come before you with the recognition of the Arts in the Capital competition. While some believe the arts are extracurricular activities, St. Lucie Public Schools believes just the opposite. To further support the importance of the arts, House Bill 701 related to the Art in the Capital competition was signed into legislation in 2016 by Governor Scott. The Art in the Capital competition is a statewide visual arts competition that requires each school district to annually hold an art competition for all students in grades 6 through 8. The winning selection from each district is to be given to the legislator of the district in which the student resides and will then be exhibited in the state capitol during the entire time of the legislative session. Many of our middle school students participated in this competition, and the field was narrowed to 4. The judges talked about the depth, movement, and detail of the students' artwork. They also spoke of how delicate and bold, yet subtle and dramatic the artwork was. We really enjoyed the work of these talented students, and it's a testament to the fine work that's being done by our teachers. Representative Lee could not be with us tonight to receive the award, but his executive assistant, Ms. Tangela Jennings, is going to join us to congratulate our winners and receive the award that will be in the state capitol. Honorable mention is going to be presented to Louise Mariquin for his artwork we entitled Jungle King. 7th grade student at Fort Pierce Magnet School of the Arts, Gerard Saltis, is his teacher. 3rd place award is awarded to Alana Edwards, 7th grade from Northport K-8. We call it the Bloom. She's not here, but her teacher, Ms. Kirk, is here. She is here? Oh, I didn't. Come on up, please. And I'm going to go back. I didn't see Mr. Salters in either, so come on up, Mr. Salters and Luis. Second place is awarded to Brooklyn Warrens, 7th grade student from Palm Point Educational Research School in Tradition, for her artwork that's being displayed that is entitled Intelligent Design. Her teacher is Diane Turner, and Ms. Turner is also here with us tonight. And the winning artwork that will be displayed in the Capitol is from Kira Nada, 7th grade student in Palm Point Educational Research School. It is a beautiful piece of work that is entitled Autumn's Last Leaf. Again, Diane Turner is her teacher. Please welcome Kira Nada. Mr. Jen, that goes Tangi. So we ask that anyone that's at the Capitol, make sure you go by and see Autumn's Last Leaf on display. Thank you again.
And next, we have a very important proclamation about reading. Reading is a cornerstone for so much of what we do, and it is so important for setting students off to a positive start for their success in life. And with us tonight, we have the president of the Reading Council for St. Lucie County, Ms. Elise Brainin, and the vice president, Nicole Eek, along with members of the St. Lucie County Reading Council. They have been very, very busy this year with many competitions for drives, for membership, and people within the district are encouraged to participate in the council. And I just want to know, I want you to know that I have with me tonight my membership check and form right here, and I wanted to present that to you because those shirts you have are really, really cool, and purple is one of my favorite colors, so I thought we could do a trade here this evening, and I get to wear this on Wednesdays, correct? Yes. All right, thank you so much. I have a passage to wear a t-shirt on Wednesdays as a member of the council. Yes, thank you so much.
The St. Lucie Reading Council is going to read the proclamation, and we have two other people along with us. If you could introduce yourselves and say what you do for the council.
My name is Allison Thomas. I work at Okamic Elementary, and I am the secretary.
I'm Lori Foley. I'm from Morningside Elementary. I am the treasurer, and I'm also the district director, which means I represent our council at the state level.
Whereas the St. Lucie County Reading Council is a local professional literacy organization dedicated to supporting St. Lucie County Public Schools district literacy goals and initiatives, and
Whereas the St. Lucie County Reading Council is a chapter of the Florida Reading Association, thereby playing an active role in the Florida Reading Association Board of Directors and being up to date with the state and federal opportunities and information, and
whereas the St. Lucie County Reading Council provides professional development and networking opportunities for educators, and
whereas the St. Lucie County Reading Council hosts community events to promote literacy for our students and families, and
whereas the ultimate goal of all St. Lucie County Reading Council events and communication is to promote a passion for literacy among St. Lucie County educators, students, and the community, and
whereas the St. Lucie County Reading Council wishes to create a visible and cohesive membership dedicated to promoting a passion for literacy across the content areas, as well as for pleasure and individual purposes, and
whereas the St. Lucie Reading Council exists for the benefit of all educators, students, families, and the community members by promoting this passion for literacy.
now, therefore, be it resolved by the School Board of St. Lucie County, Florida, that each Wednesday in the 2017-2018 school year be and is hereby recognized as the day to promote a passion for literacy, in which St. Lucie County Reading Council members shall wear their council shirts as a sign of unity in promoting a passion for literacy across the content areas for pleasure and for individual purposes.
And board members, we know how important literacy is to you, and your support is tremendous to us. So we have supplied the t-shirts for you, as well as your membership forms. And we'd also like to announce the winner of this year's school, which has the most members, which is Parkway Elementary, and they're going to win. Thank you, Parkway. We have 44 members. They're going to win a book called Don't Be That Kid. And there's a teacher resource guide already created for the book. And Lois McGuire is a local Florida author, and she wrote that. And she is extending an invitation to have you invite her out to have her talk with students and teachers and an assembly type thing. So
Thank you.
congratulations.
We
Thank you
appreciate it.
so
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Mr. Zimmerman, let's go ahead and take a vote on that.
I recommend the board approve the St. Lucie Reading Council proclamation as presented.
Board member, moved by Ms. Hensley, second by Ms. Hawley. Any discussion? Seeing none. Those in favor? Proclamation passes.
And coming up next, we have the Education Foundation with a proclamation to propose a week-long event celebrating public education. Mr. Tom Jones, would you please come forward?
Thank you, Carrie. Mr. Chair, members of the board, Mr. Superintendent. In 2015, the Education Foundation provided $50,000 in teacher grants. Last year, we provided $64,000 in teacher grants, and the board at its last meeting approved $70,000 for 2017. Our theme this year, as we move forward to raise funds for 2018, is a new theme. It's called Working Together for Success, with a fresh logo. It's on the boards. And part of our campaign as we start this effort is to recognize all of the efforts of the school board and the superintendent and all of the wonderful things that have been taking place. So we reached out to our local governmental units, and to date we have received two proclamations, one from the city of Fort Pierce and one from the county, and a similar proclamation is forthcoming from the city of Port St. Lucie. Each proclamation supports the first week of November as Public Education Week, and each proclamation recognizes your advances in graduation rates, school ranking in the Treasure Coast, and the fact that we have no failing schools. So the Education Foundation thanks all of you for your hard work, and as we celebrate Public Education Week, it culminates in our annual dinner on Saturday, November the 4th at the Pelican Yacht Club, and we're asking for the support of the public as we raise funds for our teacher grant programs as well as our student scholarships. And now I would like to present the proclamations to the board. This is from the city of, from the county, and this is from the city of,
And for our last special recognition of the evening, we have our STAR Awards. These are the awards for our employees who go above and beyond. And these 3 individuals were nominated by their peers. They come from our Instructional Technology Department. Many people do not know what goes on behind the scenes to get all of our technology and software programs up and running. Well, Tammy Pinkston, Suzanne Smith, and Glorianne Valipando certainly do make it all happen. These 3 amazing ladies are the heart of the process when we adopt a new program in St. Lucie Public Schools. They begin the conversations, they find out the schematics, and then they program to meet our needs. The tireless efforts of the team from Tammy, Sue, and Gloria to ensure that students and teachers have access to our many products in K-12 should be recognized according to the team from our curriculum and professional development folks. They patiently seek answers, they provide insight, and they support the decisions on how students can best access curriculum. Without these 3 dedicated St. Lucie Public Schools ITS personnel, we could not achieve all that we do in our core subject areas. From the bottom of our hearts, we do appreciate you from all of us in the Office of Teaching and Learning. Thank you, ladies.
Before we go any further, if you'd like to be a special speaker, please fill that out by the time CTA and CWA's report is done. If you will, just give it to my left, our recording secretary, Ms. Chris Harrison. Right now, CTA, can you come forward, Ms. Rodriguez?
We'll see how this works. Maybe I'll just use my teacher voice, I'm not sure. Good evening. Mr. Ingersoll, board members, superintendent, I like your new digs. This actually looks kind of nice for you. I know you'd like to be elsewhere, but we gotta do what we gotta do. I want to commend the district for the relatively smooth transition from the hurricane in September to our current state of being. While things are not perfect, it appears that most everyone has settled in and are back to work doing what we do for kids and employees, and that's what's most important. I did want to mention that I do appreciate the cooperative work that we did with the district through text and Facebook and a variety of other ways, both during the storm and just afterwards. That's really what real collaboration looks like, where I'm communicating with the superintendent, with others in the district about, hey, I heard this, that, the other. It made it a lot easier to get information out, and I do appreciate that. I also know that we will continue to welcome our fellow citizens from Puerto Rico as they escape their devastated island, and continue to have our arms open for all those around the state who are coming to our community and calling it home. I also want to mention our collaborative work with the district on legislative issues recently that are continuing to plague us, unfortunately, in Florida, and the common message we are sharing with our St. Lucie legislative delegation as we meet individually with our teams and our legislators. Frequently, they would like to make us appear to be enemies and pit one group of educators against another, and we know in our district that that's not always the case. Most of the time, we actually are on the same page as it relates to larger issues. And I believe we've shown them through our conversations that we do have common interests, and despite different areas of influence, we can work together and speak with the same voice. So I look forward to continuing that type of local and statewide lobbying effort with you. I was just in DC for an entire week lobbying on behalf of education. Fun times. Especially as we try and figure out in our district and in our state and in our nation how to recruit and retain teachers and increase employee salaries and improve benefits. One thing you know about me, all of you, is that you can always count on me to give you praise where I think it's due. I come to you and talk about the good things that we do as a district and the things that we do together as a union, but you can also count on me to call out where I think, where in this case, we can do better, or really, you can do better. So one final note regarding an item that's on your agenda later in the meeting, and I have already shared with all of you in writing my personal thoughts about your deliberations and options regarding throwing aside the administrative law judge's recommendations with regard to our member, Jennifer Thomas. The administrative law judge heard all of the evidence, weighed everything with the laws and rules in place, and measured the recommendation against the circumstances in the situation. As board members, I can only ask you to do the same and look not only at the facts of the case, the circumstances surrounding the case, and then reach deep to be the deliberative body you should be for the community. There have been no agency, not one agency, including professional practices and the legal system, that felt that Jennifer Thomas deserved serious sanctions for the actions that she took or didn't take with regard to the issue at hand. The administrative law judge's recommendation for her was to be reinstated because the judge determined, after looking at all of the witnesses, all of the issues, everything that has surrounded this case for the last 5 years, that no rules or laws were broken. You as a board do have options. You can completely set aside the judge's recommendation, you can take a part of it and do something else. You actually have all of the power to be reasonable. I am urging you to utilize the reasonableness that you do have, but sometimes choose to ignore. Sometimes at the suggestion of your legal counsel, or perhaps because you're holding on to some idea that you have to show strength, when sometimes showing humanity is actually more strong. Past history has shown that when you have ignored reasonableness and stuck to some idea of let's not show weakness, he'll eventually back down, the first thing is we don't. And the second is that's not really what happens. The district, over the course of the last several years, ends up paying a settlement, returning the person to work, or being sanctioned for their actions. Jennifer Thomas was victimized by Dominic Madison. There is no doubt about that. She acted in good faith and was the key, based on the testimony of the legal folks involved. She was the key in getting him jailed, punished, and away from children for the rest of his life. She was a wonderful teacher. There is not one person that you will talk to that has anything negative to say about her. And she lost everything, including her home, because she had to wait for 5 years for this case to come to this time and this place, and has not worked. The district can choose to continue to victimize her or do what is reasonable. And I am asking you to let reasonableness be your rule and not to vote to terminate Jennifer Thomas. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. CWA report? It's good to have you today, Mr. Paulette.
Good afternoon. How are y'all doing? It's good to see you all. I haven't been here in a while. Here today because a couple of reasons. One is, of course, our agreement is on your agenda for tonight. What I'd like to do is just extend my thanks to your bargaining team headed by Kathy McGinn. I appreciate the effort that your team has put out there to work with us this year in a 3-year agreement, and we've come to of course a tentative agreement. Our membership did vote to ratify it. I know it's here tonight for you to ratify, and I hope you go through with that. Although we didn't get everything we asked for, and there's a lot to still work on in the contract in the coming years, which we will bring up in the next round of bargaining in 3 years. So we'll be talking and trying to do everything we can to work out some issues that we still have. But I wanted to at least take the opportunity and the time to thank your bargaining team, along with ours. I think we worked together quite well this time. It was a rocky beginning to bargaining this year because it was the first time we went to the table and actually bargained, traditionally in quite some time. So it took a little while to get used to each side and the way we did it. And I think it ultimately at the end it worked out. Both sides did tend to work together a lot better come close to the end of bargaining. Last couple of months of bargaining, we were able to come to agreement in a lot of those areas. And but I wanted to thank them, and I want to thank you too for all the hard work that you do out here. And I know that hurricane really put a hurting on St. Lucie, as well as it did in Palm Beach County. I mean, I come from down there, and it hurt a lot of things, slowed a lot of things down. And it's like almost a month behind here on just trying to catch up to what everybody's trying to do. And I hope that the public sees that and they have the patience to hang in there. Things will get straight as we go, but I know you guys will do it, and I know that the teachers have stepped up and done their job. So have the CWA bargaining unit employees out there have stepped up and did everything they could to work with the district and make this transition from the hurricane work out. So a lot of kudos to all of the employees that work here in St. Lucie County, because quite frankly, if it wasn't for them, you'd be a whole lot further behind right now. So, but I just wanted to say that, and I wanted to thank you for your time. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you so much. We turn to the consent agenda, board members. Hopefully you had an opportunity to look over your consent agenda if there's any conflicts. We have a motion by Ms. Hensley to adopt, second by Ms. Hawley. Any conversation? Those in favor? Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Mr. Superintendent, can I have your recommendation, please?
Recommend the board to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Board members heard the recommendation of the superintendent. Moved by Dr. Mills, second by Ms. Hawley. Seeing any discussion? Seeing none. Those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Mr. Superintendent, your report, please.
Thank you. I would like to respond to Ms. Rodriguez and her comments. As the superintendent, I'm the one that makes the recommendation to the board to reject the administrative law judge. And I did so for the following reasons. Number one, we're charged to protect our children no matter what horrific incidents occur. I believe that this child is the victim in this case. The teacher did recognize what she saw was a crime being committed against a student. She acknowledged this. She also acknowledged that she did not do what she was trained to do, and that was to notify the police. And she admitted that she didn't follow school district policy. The first impulse was to call someone else, and not the police, and that was the boyfriend. Four calls were made. None were made to law enforcement. In fact, she never made a call to law enforcement. That was done by the pastor 4 hours later. The detectives made it clear to Ms. Thomas on multiple occasions on the evening of October 18th and the morning of the 19th to let them know if she knew of the whereabouts of Mr. Madison. And she acknowledged that she clearly understood that directive. The next day, around 11:45, Ms. Thomas did find out where Mr. Madison was located and spoke to him by the phone. At no time did she contact law enforcement, as she was directed to do, to make them aware of his whereabouts. In fact, there was law enforcement at her home as well. Later that afternoon, Ms. Thomas was transported to the sheriff's office for an interview. At that time, she did admit that she failed to notify law enforcement, and at the conclusion of that interview, she was placed under arrest and charged with 2 felonies. Number 1, felony count of failing to report child abuse, and also a felony count of being an accessory after the fact, both violations of Florida statute. She was aware that and she was charged with 2 felonies by the state attorney. She was aware he was at the Holiday Inn. She didn't notify police until the interview at the sheriff's office. 23 hours really happened until this person was apprehended, and as a result, if this could have been handled immediately, valuable evidence would not have been lost, and the police manhunt and a lot of police hours would have been reduced. Madison himself was charged with 40 counts of a criminal activity. I believe he's serving 5 counts, 15 years for each count, which is approximately 70-some-odd years. He pleaded no contest to both of these charges. After he pleaded no contest, Ms. Thomas was, after he was adjudicated guilty, she was then what was called no pros, which means the charges then went away. Had this instructor initially done what she was required to do, and that is to contact law enforcement, this evidence wouldn't have been destroyed, and the interests of this child really would have been forefront. This has happened, unfortunately, not only in this county, but in other counties as well, and in many of the similar cases, teachers and employees have known that the first thing to do is to contact law enforcement, which is our duty to protect the child, and so that's why my recommendation was as it is. I'd like to move on from that to this time to announce some good things. 25 of our schools received the 5-star designation. Last year we only had, well, not only, we had 19. This year was an increase to 23, so we want to congratulate those schools, and we'll recognize them at a school board meeting. Friday we had a principals meeting, and there's a proclamation that I read to them at that time regarding Florida Principals Month that was designated by Governor Scott. So for the sake of time, I won't read it here today, but I did read it to the principals at that time. I want to commend DeJohn Jackson and Lori Reed. They are going to be attending the Dr. Brian Vassler Leadership Academy. This is part of academic leaders from across the state. Go in a year-long job-embedded research-based program on principal professional development from FDOE in partnership with the University of Washington Center for Educational Leadership, so congratulations to those two. Susan Seal, the principal at Treasure Coast High School, also was selected as the State of Florida Music Education Association Secondary Administrator of the Year, and we recognized her Friday as well. And as you saw before we came in today, John Davino was the Tools for Schools Teacher of the Week from Sam Gaines Academy. Also, let's see here, I believe this was at LPA, Carolyn Duran was awarded the Florida Art Education Association 2017 New Professional Award, and we recognized them at the principals meeting. Tom Jones, Mr. Jones already mentioned the Education Gala November the 4th. We want to continue to encourage folks to sign up to be reading mentors and volunteers. And I want to say to all of our employees, if any of you have been displaced from the district office to other areas and that's required an additional travel time, let your supervisor know and we'll make sure that we accommodate that so you're not lose any time at all, but we want to make sure that we continue that year after year. And our offices have been temporarily relocated for the next several months, and that's on the district homepage. And it was also mentioned by Ms. Rodriguez about the displaced students. I believe up to this point, we've had about over 80 students that have been displaced just by Hurricane Irma. And we have opened our doors to those students. They're enrolled in our schools. We're waiting for any students that may come from Puerto Rico, as well as employees looking for jobs or educators. The state has waived some of the requirements, temporary waivers for teaching certificates and those kinds of things. And so we do, each one of our classrooms, and not every classroom, but every school in the lobby has a Statue of Liberty, which that's what we stand for, to accept. That's public education. It's true public education, to accept all of our children and all of our boys and girls, no matter where they may come from, into our doors and welcome them and make sure that we can accommodate their needs and find out what's going on in their life and help them in school and out of school as well. So I'm very proud of what our schools are doing, very proud of the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Mr. Harold, your report, please.
Board a proposed form of final order that embodies the action that the board took after the hearing on September 22nd. If there's any question regarding that, it's necessary when these matters come forward with a recommended order that the board adopt a formal final order that sets forth addresses each of the exceptions that are made, in this instance by the superintendent, and then makes determinations regarding the accepted paragraphs and makes a final determination. In this instance, the final order rejects certain and replaces certain of the determinations made by the administrative law judge and rejects his recommendation, ultimate recommendation, and imposes the sanction of termination.
I have a motion to accept by Ms. Hensley. I have a second. Second by Ms. Hawley. Any discussion? We'll vote separately. We're voting now. Do you want to discuss anything?
We've already discussed it at the other meeting, and we've come up with, in which the majority of the board did recommend the order, but I want to make it on record that I am nay when it comes to this recommended order. I do agree with the administrative law judge.
Okay. Right now we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 3-2. School board members report. Ms. Hensley, number 15.1, please.
You have been provided a document that deals with getting financing from the state for the Treasure Coast Advanced Manufacturing Center at Indian River State College. As you know, we've been working on this for many, many years. I think the first request went up 10 years ago. So the plan of action is ready. There's still a need for $14.8 million to make that happen. It would be a next step for what our students are doing in our schools. We have all these wonderful academies and great success with that, and this will be the next step. And they need the building so they can have an epicenter, and then we can start doing the programs in the communities, but they do need the building. So there's a resolution that has been provided that we are in support of them being given this money. It is a legislative priority of the Treasure Coast Council of Local Governments, as well as each individual government in the 4 counties. We hope will pass the same resolution. So I am asking that you accept that as one of our letter of support to President Massey.
Okay. So we have to vote on that. Would you like a vote? Sure. I have a motion by Ms. Hensley. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Hawley. Any further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor? Aye. Those opposed, motion carries 5-0.
Okay. Also, Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
The Treasure Coast Council of Local Governments has a priority of local control. We've had this priority for many years, and it does impact lack of local control will impact cities, counties, and school districts, fire boards, everybody that's a governmental entity. So we took a vote last week to actually put some money in Treasure Coast Council, local governments, not the school district, to actually have some talking points put together so we can educate the public on what happens if we lose more local control.
Thank you so much. Ms. Hilson?
Just wanted to mention another thank you to all the staff that helped us to get through this terrible hurricane. And I've actually met with some families that have been displaced by the hurricane, and it's just insidious when something like this happens. It affects so many people. So I'm just so proud of our St. Lucie County School Board staff, everyone. It's just a team effort, and how we all have to be in different schools, and the people that were the masterminds, and just the physically moving of all the equipment and everything. It's so appreciated. And I just have a little personal note. I'm a grandmother. Again, I have 3 grandsons. I just had my first granddaughter. My daughter Laura had a little girl. So I'm really excited about that, even though she was early. Kathleen Murphy. Her dad's from Ireland, so she's a Murphy. And just really excited. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ms. Holly?
Just wanted to take a moment to thank all of the schools. With our disrupted start, our District Advisory Council lost a month in September, but we were able to meet last night for the first time, and thanks to each of the schools, because we had 37 people in attendance last night, which was just really, really good. A lot of engaging conversation, a lot of stories about how well the schools came together through Hurricane Irma. So I too want to add my thanks to each of you, the administrators, everybody. I mean, literally it took everyone working on this together to make it as fluid as it was. So thank you, and we look forward to a good school year with our District Advisory Council.
Thank you. Dr. Mills?
Yes, just wanted to make the announcement that the Speakers Bureau will be beginning this October. We had to cancel out September because of Hurricane Irma. But we are up at this time. We have 14 middle and high schools that are participating with the Speakers Bureau. And I thank you very much for seeing the vision and understanding how vital it is for our young people to be inspired and motivated and to help them help themselves and to be encouraged in that area. So thank you for all of you that have gotten the message and have said, yes, I would come and share my story with the young people. We currently have about 150 people out within the community that have said they want to come and encourage our students. So I want to say thank you to the community as well for getting behind this. Thank you to the principals, administration, the teachers, and the parents and everyone that's being involved in this. And we will start the 14 schools this month in October.
Thank you, Dr. Mills. It's been a great time. I would like to say things are back to normal, but when I go to a school on Monday night and there's a football game, a varsity football team playing on Monday night, my wife looks at me and she goes, "Is it Friday already?" I said, "No, sweetheart, it's Monday." It's been an exciting time getting out in the community. We had date night Saturday night with my wife. We went to Central's homecoming. It was excellent. It's good to see the kids out and about, and we just ask for safety as homecoming season does come upon us. Our next meeting is going to be November, the regular meeting. It's going to be November the 7th at our usual time, and I want to thank Principal Anna Rodriguez and Alapata Flats for hosting us. It's a great opportunity for us to be here. Thank you so much for attending, and this meeting is adjourned.